After leaving last week, China Coast Guard's monster ship is likely to return to Sabina Shoal, according to a West Philippine Sea monitor. Sea Light Director Ray Powell says the China Coast Guard vessel with bow number 5901 left the shoal as a part of its normal rotation. Based on Powell's observation, China Coast Guard allots 45 days as standard time to keep the large Coast Guard ships at sea before they rotate them. The China Coast Guard's giant patrol cutter had been deployed off Sabina Shoal on July 3, but the Philippine Coast Guard previously said that the ship already left by August 10, staying for a total of 38 days. According to Powell, the China Coast Guard 5901 ship may return to the vicinity of the shoal. A 135-meter China Coast Guard vessel with hull number 5303 was deployed by Beijing to replace China Coast Guard 5901. This is much smaller than the monster ship, which is the largest Coast Guard vessel in the world at 165 meters long and 22 meters wide. Powell further says the automatic identification system of China Coast Guard 5901 has been turned off since July 31. This makes it impossible for him to monitor its movements, but he says the ship is probably back at Hainan Island now. Beijing's continuous deployment in Sabina Shoal comes as Manila maintains a persistent presence there. The camp of former Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go is asking the Department of Justice to dismiss the qualified human trafficking case against her. Based on Go's counter-affidavit, the former mayor argued that the complainants failed to establish her connection to the alleged human trafficking in Bamban. It added that the only evidence for her supposed involvement were mere electric bills and documents of Baofu Land Development Incorporated. Last March, a Philippine offshore gaming operator's entity that was raided is located within the Baofu compound, just behind the Bamban Municipal Hall. In the same affidavit, Go added that the allegations against her are being exploited by individuals who are more interested in leveraging the issue for their own political ambitions rather than seeking the truth. Go was a former stockholder at Baofu. The former mayor added that it isn't just to accuse her of committing human trafficking simply because of her position as mayor. According to Go, her position should not be used as a basis for unfounded allegations against her, especially when there is no credible evidence to support such claims. Last June 21, a non-bailable offense of qualified human trafficking was filed by the Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group and the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission before the Department of Justice. Meanwhile, in an interview, Justice Undersecretary and Interagency Council Against Trafficking Chairperson Nicolas T. says that Go's counter-affidavit should have been submitted personally by her. T adds that he will let the prosecutor panel decide whether or not they will accept Go's counter-affidavit. Senator Ronald Bato Dela Rosa is hoping that the Senate would not bow down its head to the palace should it allow the entry of International Criminal Court drug war investigators into the Philippines and grant the issuance of an arrest warrant against him. Dela Rosa was the first chief of the Philippine National Police during former President Rodrigo Duterte's tenure. Along with 4 other former PNP officials, Dela Rosa is one of the people accused in the Crimes Against Humanity complaint filed with the International Criminal Court due to Duterte's drug war. Dela Rosa says he's hoping that the Senate would adopt a stand that would reflect the true identity of the Senate as the last bastion of democracy in the country.
Dapat manindigan ang Senado as a separate and independent entity. Dapat ang Senado ay pangalagaan yung kanyang pagiging co-equal branch of government ng ibang branches of government.
According to Dela Rosa, he has no plans of communicating these hopes with Senate President Francis Chiz Escudero, although he emphasizes that he presumes the Senate chief knows what to do.
Senate President, he has to protect the integrity of the institution. I'm expecting it from him. Pero yung siya, kunin yung kanyang assurance, yun yung plano niya, hindi ko na siya kinasa. Alam niya anong ginagawa niya.
Dela Rosa reiterates that he is holding on to President Bongbong Marcos's words that he would not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court over the Philippines.
I hold him responsible, being the chief executive of this government. I hold him responsible for everything, for every declaration regarding foreign policy matters that he has stated.
Talks about the International Criminal Court's arrest warrants getting issued soon have resurfaced after retired Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio previously said that the International Criminal Court prosecutor's investigation of the Duterte drug war has reached a pivotal point. 3 former Philippine Military Academy cadets were found guilty over the 2019 hazing and death of then Cadet 4th Class Darwin Dormitorio. Baguio Regional Trial Court Branch 5 found Shadimar Imperial and Felix Lumbag Jr. guilty of murder and hazing. The two are sentenced to reclusion perpetua and a fine of 3 million pesos each. They are also ordered to jointly and solidarily pay dormitorio's heirs of 75,000 pesos as civil indemnity, another 75,000 pesos as moral damages, and 25,000 pesos as temperate damages. They shall also pay 100,000 pesos for attorney's fees. Meanwhile, the court also found Julius Tadena guilty of hazing. Tadena is sentenced to reclusion perpetua and shall pay a fine of 2 million pesos. Dexter Dormitorio, brother of the late Cadet Darwin, says their family is grateful because justice was served. According to reports, Darwin Dormitorio suffered a series of maltreatments from his upperclassmen. Dormitorio was no longer responsive when he was brought to the hospital and he had bruises on different parts of his body. He died on September 18, 2019. The Philippine Statistics Authority says that a Filipino family of 5 members only needed nearly 14,000 pesos per month to meet their minimum basic food and non-food requirements last year. Based on its 2023 official poverty statistics, the Philippine Statistics Authority notes that a 5-member family can be considered not poor if their minimum basic food and non-food expenses were not less than or below 13,873 pesos per month. This amount is already an improvement from the 11,998 pesos monthly in 2021. However, according to the agency, the poverty threshold differs in every region of the country since bills and expenses also vary. Last year, the poverty threshold for the National Capital Region was at 15,713 pesos. The Central Luzon region was at 16,046 pesos, while Calabar Zone region was at 15,457 pesos. The region that posted the lowest poverty threshold was the Soc-Sargen region at 12,241 pesos. The Philippine Statistics Authority further reports that the national poverty incidence among families in 2023 was recorded at 10.9%. This is equivalent to 2.99 million Filipino families without enough income to meet their basic food and non-food needs.